Thursday morning, welcome to Ocala Talks. I am your host, Tom Schmitz. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, at the palatial studios of WOCA Radio, just outside the food court entrance to the Paddock Mall in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida. Joined on the phone lines as I am every day by the good folks at Palm Garden Health Rehabilitation Center and Penn Flooring. Their generous sponsorship of this program brings Galen Unall from Life South to us every day. Galen, good morning.
Hey, what's going on? How are you today, Tom?
You know, the sky, I may be wrong. I may not be the smartest guy in the world. You know, I did graduate from the school system of DeKalb County in Atlanta, Georgia, so I may not be the brightest. I did play college football, high school football, junior high football, Pop Warner football, lots of shots to the head, so I may not be all together. But I looked up this morning and the sky had not fallen. Am I right?
Well, but at the same time, you know, the world isn't all rainbows and everybody doesn't
No,
have,
I didn't say it was, but the sky didn't fall.
No,
The apocalypse is not upon us.
You know what? It was kind of like yesterday. A little warmer, though. That's good.
Yeah, a little warmer.
Global warming starting to kick in.
Although, yesterday was a very unique day that I bet you didn't even think about. Yesterday was a palindrome, and the start of 9 days in a row that are palindromes. Yesterday was 1/21/2021. So when you look at that backwards, it was 1/20/2021. When you look at it backwards, it says 1/20/2021.
Wow.
How about that? You know, this year, that won't happen again for 1,000 years. The inauguration day won't fall on the palindrome till January 20th, 1/20/3021. 3021 is the next time.
Somebody should find out what Nostradamus said about that.
Wednesday's 7-digit palindrome is one of just 26 dates in the entire 21st century that is a 7-digit palindrome.
Unbelievable.
There's going to be 22 palindromes this year.
That's the sign we needed.
Yeah.
That's the sign we needed.
There's going to be 22 palindromes dates this year, which is remarkable because there's only 2 years in a century where that can happen. The years ending in 11 and 21, and we're in our second one of those. See, I got all kind of information that you may not know. I come at you with all kind of information.
Sure. I did not expect that, but again, we really need to look into what Nostradamus said about it.
Well, December has 9 consecutive days filled with 5-digit palindromes. There's already one palindrome this year, 5-digit one this year. 1/2/21 was 1/2/21, which was a 4-digit date. And there are 19 5-digit palindromes plus 2 6-digit ones. All of this according to the most reliable source you can have. Are you ready for this? The Farmer's Almanac.
It really is the best.
It really is the best.
Before the internet, when I worked at the blood center, we had one in our department.
It was the internet.
If you were going to schedule like a big event, the first thing you did, let's see what the weather's going to be like. It's amazing how frequently it's right. I mean, it's better than any weather, man.
You know as well as I do that when we were growing up, the internet consisted of Encyclopedia Britannica, the Guinness Book of World Records, and the Farmer's Almanac. That was it. That was the internet.
That's right. Those were those 3 books settled more bets and fights
100%
than the internet could ever. Yeah.
And yeah, because the internet, you can always go and find 12, 15, 18 different answers for one question. Correct. You had 3 resources, and they all usually agreed on the answer, and that was the answer. That's how it was.
Well, they very rarely crossed over, which was nice.
Right. You didn't have the guy with the
world records.
Yeah, you didn't have the guy with the 35-inch fingernails in the Encyclopedia Britannica, but he was in the Guinness Book of World Records.
No. And, Scrabble, it would solve all the Scrabble, because if it wasn't in either one of those books, then it definitely wasn't a word if it wasn't in Webster's. Yeah, that back in the good old days. Yeah.
Yeah, if I say this, you're going to get a visual image of this right now. the two brothers that were combined, the two heaviest people on the face of the earth, and they were on those little Honda mini bikes, those Honda 50 mini bikes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Remember the tallest man in the world had to be, remember the tallest man in the world?
Sure. Yeah, and now the only way you get in the Guinness Book of World Records is you basically pay for it.
Right.
You have to pay for somebody to come out and monitor it. And it's like, okay. Back in the day, it was just in your backyard. If you could try to figure out how to do what they were doing. Did you
have access to one every year, or was it one passed around?
No,
like in my neighborhood, we had the 1971, then we had the 1975. We didn't get them every year.
Yeah. It was if you were hoping that one of your friends had that aunt that really understood that a kid needs this in their life when they're between the ages of, let's say, 7 and about 12. When dinosaurs are the most important thing in the world. Have I ever shared my theory of men with you, that we have space in our brains for dinosaurs or women, but not both?
But not both.
And that once you start,
100%.
Once you start to like women, you lose all of your knowledge of dinosaurs.
You may have a scientific fact on your hands right there, pal, because I'll tell you what, when I was coming up as a kid, I literally, because I was in trouble so much, and my mother would put me in room restriction. And when I say room restriction, I mean you didn't come out of your room except to use the bathroom or shower. They brought you food in.
Correct.
It's like solitary confinement in a prison. But she always would leave.
Absolutely.
She would leave my shelf of books, and she would go to the book depository in Jacksonville, and she would buy all the old textbooks and all the old Britannicas and dictionaries and everything. And cool books to read, too. I'd get literature books from high schools and stuff that had great stories in it. The Count of Monte Cristo I read when I was like 8 years old instead of 16 in high school. But anyway, so my mom, she would take all your toys and all out of your room, but she would leave all the books. So I literally, true story, the 1973 Encyclopedia Britannica I read from A to Z.
Well, there you go.
But
there you go.
It was great. I was 8 years old. I was reading about dinosaurs. I knew about pterodactyls. I knew about T-Rexes. I knew about all the. Now that's pretty much all I got. What I just said to you.
That's right. But it's to me, all you have to do is if there's a kid and you're not sure if he's into girls, or I have to say, hey, what's your favorite dinosaur? And if he goes, what? Then oh no, he's into girls.
Yeah. Things have changed.
And if he tells you like the lineage of his favorite dinosaur, you're like, yeah, he's got another year. So
yeah, easy. Yeah, I think you may have a scientific fact there.
I will tell you this: it's a theory I constantly prove, but I haven't disproved it yet. So it's not truth yet, but I would love for somebody to deny that. Now, if you're a paleontologist, that's iffy because you're trying to make a living off of it. If you make a living off of it, you have to have room for two things.
Wasn't Ross Geller a paleontologist?
Yes.
I thought so.
He worked at a museum.
Right, but he was a paleontologist who.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're right.
So we get a little Friends reference in there. See that? See what we did there?
There you go. Nice job.
But you're right. Once you lose interest in dinosaurs, it's because your interest is somewhere else. When did you get your first sports almanac?
Ooh, early. You got to remember, my dad was, doing play-by-play and.
But you had sports almanacs everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So early, I had a Sports Illustrated subscription when I was in kindergarten. So yeah, that was a part of our world.
Yeah, and the sports almanac, stopped us from having fist fights.
Absolutely, it solved it again. Your go-to for any argument was one of those books, and you would travel the whole neighborhood going to find the most current edition.
Oh yeah,
because you knew what family had what set of encyclopedias, what reference material was available in your neighborhood, It wasn't a library. It was a shared community thing.
I'll tell you.
And there are many times when my mom would send me and say, go to this house and borrow this encyclopedia, like the C edition. And so you'd knock on the door and say, can I borrow your C edition of the encyclopedia?
Oh, happened all the time.
Bring it over. Yeah, because you couldn't afford to buy a new one every year. They're expensive.
They were expensive, and the man would bring them around. He'd come knock on your door and sell them door to door.
Sure. Absolutely.
Hey,
absolutely.
We need to take a break. When we come back from the break, I'll tell you a story about a book that I requested because it's just who I am. It's the makeup of who I am. I'll tell you about that next. We're talking with Galen Unall from Life South, brought to you by the good folks at Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. They offer skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you have any questions about Palm Garden or how they're handling the COVID-19, give them a call at 352-854-6262. That's 352-854-6262.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth. The only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks. Galen Unall from Life South on the phone lines with us, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring and Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. You know, I'm going to get that live read down one time, Galen, without making a mistake. I promise.
Yeah, at least once. I doubt it, but we can hope.
I doubt it, too. So, you know, you talked about how you would go borrow books and you know who had what reference books in their house and everything. When I was probably 13, 14 years old, I had a, let's just say, because certain words you can't say on the radio, I had a less than stellar stepfather. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. And
yeah, well, you know where to find those too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was part of the reference guide.
Well, yeah.
You knew whose father had what, and you could, you know, you kind of even knew where the stash was.
Well, yeah.
That's okay.
So I had a less than stellar stepfather who really shouldn't have been around children. But anyway, that's whole other story. And I got a bike for Christmas. A nice bike. I mean, a mountain bike with the mono shock and the shocks on it, you know. It was a mountain bike before mountain bikes, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I got this bike at 13, and it was great. It was a 10-speed, and I was ready to go. Probably one of the first mountain bikes that there were, because this was 1979, I think. So probably one of the first hybrids of mountain bikes, right? So I get in trouble in school. I do something in junior high school. I think I hit a nun. Something minor. May have hit a nun with a ruler or something. It wasn't that big a deal. But anyway, that's a whole different story, too. Well, I get put on restriction, and he comes home from work and tells me, I'm taking your bike and selling it. You know. So I told my sister, I say, Donnie Gunner's dad was a lawyer, lived like 3 houses down from us. I go, get in touch with Dale, because I meant Donnie, because I can't talk to him on room restriction, and see if his dad has a law book that deals with gifts and the ability to take them or not take them back from people. And then I wrote, so they give me the law book, and I find what I'm looking for in this law book, and I write like a 5-page paper on why it's illegal for him to take my bicycle and sell it, because it was given to me as a gift, and Florida statutes don't allow it and everything. I got 30 more days restriction.
I was going to say, it's okay to prove a point, and then you have to understand, you may have won the battle, but you lost the war.
Yeah, well, but that was the day that my stepfather at the time, and this went on for the battle with him and I till I was about 3 weeks before my 18th birthday with my mother. No, I don't want to tell you bad things about my family. My mother said, you got to go because you're about to turn 18 and you're gonna leave me anyway, and your stepfather won't, so he doesn't want you here. You got to get out.
Oh,
So
I
anyway,
gotcha.
one of those things. But it all stems back. It goes directly related back to that moment in time when I was 13, when this guy who thought he was all that in a bowl of soup realized this 13-year-old's way smarter than I am. And he harbored bad feelings and had an agenda to get rid of this smart kid from the rest of the time we were together. And it all goes back to when I came out with the paper, and this is once again me, who I am. I come out with the paper. My family would throw a big Sunday, once a month, a big Sunday gig in the backyard and everything. My father did it every week, but my mother, when she got remarried, did it once a month. And there was probably 35 people at the house. And I walked out in the backyard and I said, I'd like to say something. And he didn't want me to talk. And then one of his friends was like, no, let's hear what Tommy's got to say. And so I dressed him down with this 5-page thing right in front of everybody.
Oh, boy. Wow.
But what I wasn't worried about was he was a violent man. He was a violent man who would like to slap you around and everything. But the one thing I wasn't worried about is at 13, he decided to slap me around. And he learned on that day that it's probably best to just be angry with me but not touch me.
Well, your neck was much smaller then, but I'm sure it was pretty big.
But I was still 5'9", about 175 pounds. I was not a small.
Yeah.
At 13, I had football coaches going, "Oh, this guy's going to be a monster," because I was 5'8", 175 pounds. I played college football at 5'9", 225. So from 13 to 21, I went from 5'8" to 5'9", and I gained 55 pounds.
Well, at least you didn't eat.
So that's my.
Oh man.
But that's when I.
Man.
But that's my moment when I decided that I was going to show the adults I was smarter than they were. By the way, I do not recommend that to any child to do that. The fallout is not worth it. The fallout is not worth it.
Yeah. Can you? But going back to this borrowing like stuff from neighbors. Can you? I mean, I have some really good neighbors. And they would probably let me borrow their tablet, but if you went to a neighbor and said, "Hey, I need to borrow your tablet. I need to search for something," they'd say that isn't going to happen.
And the thing is, if you need to borrow a tablet, what's a tablet cost nowadays? About $100, $110 at the most.
Well, depends on it. Like a brand new Apple costs like $700.
Okay, but let's just say a generic one. Like a 10-inch Samsung or something.
You can get a Kindle for $150.
Right, and that serves its purpose as a tablet.
Absolutely.
That set of Britannicas was much more than that Kindle.
Oh, heck yeah.
And if you lose the D,
they lasted forever.
And if you lose the D book, it's gone. Now you got a gap. It's just gone.
Well,
it's like a 51 deck, like a 51 card deck. It's no good.
But then again, you also had that household in the neighborhood that you didn't borrow anything from, and you didn't let them borrow anything.
Oh yeah. And you borrowed everything back then. You would go, hey, go tell Jerry next door that when we go to the gas station, we'll get some gas for his lawnmower too. See if he's got some gas for our lawnmower because we forgot to get gas. Yeah. You would loan me, hey, see if he's got a quart of oil. We need some oil over here in the lawnmower. Yeah. See if he's got a quart of oil next door.
Everything.
2 eggs. Go ask Margie. Go ask Margie if she's got 2 eggs so we can make this cake. You borrowed everything.
Yeah, we still do that with my neighbor because we never seem to have. It's like we're going back and forth. But it was the books. You brought me back, and you would have to put your name on things.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? That's why, because my wife pulled out a book and she goes, "Oh my gosh, my God!" Her family was big time. They had a stamp.
Oh.
And she goes, "Oh my God, this book has been stamped." And I'm like, "You had a stamp?" And that was like a 20-minute conversation.
We just were fountain pen. We had the fountain pen that you would write the Schmitz family in the inside, and then that's how you knew it was ours.
Yeah, right. But that was big time.
So
stamp.
Did I ever tell you the story?
Library.
Speaking of these books and everything, these reference books, did I ever tell you the story of why I lead a life of just complete sorrow as a Falcons fan. Did I ever explain that story to you?
Oh, I assume because you grew up near, that was your nearest football team.
No, the Dolphins were there too. Jacksonville, the Dolphins, and
All right. But in Jacksonville, you were a Falcons fan or you were a Falcons fan. You were never a Bucks fan.
No, because the Bucks weren't there till '76, and so we were already kid. I was a kid, so you either had the Dolphins or the Falcons on TV. And remember the '72 Dolphins, which people will make the argument that there are better football teams, but I always say the greatest football team in NFL history is the '72 Dolphins, because until somebody else has a zero in the loss column with the Super Bowl trophy, they're the best team ever to play in the NFL in my estimation.
Agreed.
Well, my next door neighbor who lived, he was an across the street neighbor, directly across the street, Al was a huge Dolphins fan, and Al was a little Jewish kid that at full grown now at 55 years old, he's 5'3", okay? And he had a little man complex, and he was just angry all the time, except when he talked about the Dolphins. He loved the Miami Dolphins. And he would pull that 1972 stat book out anytime we talked football, and he would just kill us with the Miami Dolphins, just murder us with the Miami Dolphins.
That's great.
We stole that book from Al when he was when he was like 8 years old or 9 years old. We stole we stole it from him and burnt it. Gave him the ashes back, and then gave him the ashes. Wow. That was a big deal in our neighborhood. Caused a big problem.
You were evil.
At 14, we stole it from him out of his locker in junior high school. We go to our 25-year class reunion. Now, because I lived in Florida till my senior year going to high school, I went back to my Florida 25-year reunion as well, right? So we go back to my 25-year reunion. Al walks in, reaches into his back pocket, says, "Who wants to talk football?" and pulls out the '72 Dolphins stat book.
See, he got over it.
25 years later, he pulls out the Dolphins stat book.
Well, kids today would be like, "I'm still in therapy over that." It's something there's this hole in my heart that can't be filled by anything.
Yeah, but kids today don't know about. Kids today, they act like they know what. Kids today have no inkling of how. You used to be Bob Greasy, or you were Larry Zonka and stuff. Kids today, they want to be LeBron James, but nobody football-wise, nobody wants to. It's very hard for me to believe a kid's out throwing a football up in the air to himself, saying Tom Brady throws a pass caught by Rob Gronkowski, playing by himself, running touchdowns and stuff like that. You know how we used to say, we'd be on a basketball court by ourselves saying, we're taking the last shot of the NCAA, especially after North Carolina State won the NCAA tournament, that improbable thing. Yeah. Kids don't do that anymore.
Well, now they do it in a video game. They can play
we didn't have that ability. That's right, yeah.
No, Pong wasn't that sophisticated.
No, Pong, boop, boop, boop. It was all we had, though, and we loved it. It was all we had, and we loved it.
That's it.
Hey, Galen, where's the Bloodmobile? Right. Where's the Bloodmobile today?
Hey, today we're at the Wal Mart there on Silver Springs Boulevard as you're going on 40. And please just give the gift of life, donate blood. I wonder if they have encyclopedias.
Oh, I'm sure they may.
They probably just have the show ones, because you go into Sears and they just have the ones that were for show.
The display, yeah, the ones that they weren't real. Hey, Galen, talk to you tomorrow, pal.
All right, be good. Thanks, Tom.
You're listening to Ocala Talks on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Casting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
It's USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
The transfer of power is complete. President Biden is the 46th Commander-in-Chief.
But the American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we, the people, who seek a more perfect union. This is a great nation. We're good people. And over the centuries, through storm and strife, in peace and in war, we've come so far, but we still have far to go.
Thousands of Southern California editors Edison customers are without power this week as a precaution due to 80-mile-an-hour winds and red flag conditions. The largest outages were in Ventura County. More than 7,000 in Thousand Oaks and 2,000 in Simi Valley had their power shut off as a precaution. Power outages also hit customers in Los Angeles, Laguna Woods, Anaheim, Moreno Valley, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Menifee in the Inland Empire. USA Radio News.
Attention business owners body slammed by overwhelming